Hi, this video is for Math 1130 on Chapter 8 using StatCrunch. So in 8.1, when we do the basics of hypothesis testing, one thing I will point out here is these tables are very important. Table 1 that you see right here is for finding critical values. Table 2 is finding p-values, and then Table 3 is drawing conclusion. For StatCrunch, we will talk about table 1 and table 2. So how you find critical values. First thing you have to figure out, read the question carefully and figure out, are they proportion or are they mean? You can figure out by reading the questions. Usually mean has the word mean, or the symbol mu. A proportion has the letter P. And then you also need to figure out, are they two-tailed tests, left-tailed tests, right-tailed tests? So let's say if you are using a two-tailed test, you have to go under its proportion. You have to go under stat calculator normal. So I'm going to in your StatCrunch. So I'm going to go to the StatCrunch now. Okay. So in StatCrunch, when you do your to find the critical value for the popular proportion, what you need to do here is you go under stat calculators and go under normal, like what you did in chapter 6. And the mean is 0 and such is 1. Then what you do is you put either less than or greater than and then alpha 2. If you use greater than, you will get a plus sign. If you use a less than, you will get a minus sign. You're still going to get the same number. So let's say you want to find alpha is 5% or 0.05. And the reason why you divide by 2 is because a two-tailed test, you will have both left and right. So what you do in this case is, let's say that alpha is 5%. So what you do is divide by 2. And the thing is that if you use the less than symbol, your answer will be negative, which is negative 1.96. However, if you use the greater than symbol, you will get a positive 1.96. Okay, so that is very special. This is two-tailed test. You do need to divide by 2. And the reason why is because you will get two-sided. However, if you do a left-tailed test for this case, you just need to use the less than symbol. And also make sure you know that this is alpha, not divided by 2. So your answer in this case will be negative 1.645. And the reason why is because it's a left-tailed test. You find out the shading is on the left side, not the two side. And then that's why you have to use less than. And for the right-tailed test, you have to use the greater symbol. And again, if this alpha is 5%, you don't divide this by 2 because everything is the alpha is the whole on the right side. So it will be 1.645. Okay, so this is the normal calculator to find for population proportion. Now, if you do population mean, we will use a T distribution. So we will have to know the degree of freedom here. And again, it is exactly the same thing. For the two-tailed test, make sure you over 2. You can do greater than or less than, depending on you're going to positive, negative, but make sure that your answer has to be both two answers, both positive and negative answer. And then for the left-tailed test, make sure the symbol is less than, right-tailed test is right, greater than. So I will show it to you. Is that calculator under T. Okay. The only thing that is different between the T and the normal that we did here is normal, we need mean and standard, which is 0 and 1. But for T in this case, we need degree of freedom, and make sure that the formula to find degree of freedom is n minus 1. And then you do the same thing as what we just did for the normal calculator in this case. Make sure that this alpha is over 2. Okay. If you do two-tailed test, and if you do less than, means it will be negative because it will be on this side. And don't forget, two-tailed test means you have another one on the right side here. Okay. And the same thing for the rest. So this is how you find what we call critical value. So this value that you find, the negative 2.22 or 1.64, those are what we call as critical values. Okay. For question regarding with p-values, then you just do the same thing, but this time you don't put it on the second box, you put it on the first box. So usually they will give you a z-score. So for proportion, we will also do the normal here. Okay, we'll do the normal calculator here. And then the mean 0, 1. If it's a two-tailed test, you need to figure out what is the z-score provided to us. If the z-score is positive, then you have to use greater than. If the z-score is negative, then you will have to use less than in this case. Okay. Hello?
I think with David.
Yes, this is David speaking. Yes.
What?
I'm sorry?
What is the name of your association?
Hidden Village Townhome Association in Golden Valley.
Eden Village?
Hidden.
Spell that for me, please.
Hidden.
Oh, okay.
Hidden. You're fine.
Okay.
My accent.
Everything I'm like.
I know we cannot. Yeah, hidden. Hidden.
Yes.
Village.
I got that out.
Yep.
Okay, so what's happening with the work comp?
So our employee right now, the caretaker,
Okay.
we got his last day of employment is end of this month,
Oh, okay.
March 31st.
Okay. Would you be able to email that into us just so we have it in writing?
Okay. Do you have an email address I can send it to? I think I got some of the email address. And I think I called Traveler and they say that I need to fill out some form or something else.
Yeah. Yep. We'll have that.
Yep.
You go ahead and fill that form out. So
Okay.
give me the email address. Word association spelled out
Association.
with an S on the end.
With the S. Okay,
Yeah,
plural.
Yeah, plural. Yeah.
Mhm.
So S.
At.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then my
My
insurance warehouse.
all one word
Yes.
and no plural.
No plural. No.
Okay.
.com.
Okay. So it's associations with S at myinsurancewarehouse.com. So I send, should I send a separation letter? That's what you need.
Well, not just email, well, you can send that if you would like, yes, but you can send an email to that email address.
Is a separation letter is good enough?
Yes. We're requesting the policies we cancel any attach that attach that. And put the date on there that you would like to have it.
Yeah, the separation letter will have all those things, Stella. Yeah. And then I did pay monthly because the due date is on the 25th.
Okay.
And I did pay monthly for $100 some.
Okay.
And I think there will be a prorated or they'll be return back some money.
Yeah, so if they'll probably still send you the information to do an audit.
Yeah.
Since he's leaving now, so then if there's anything that's owed back to you, they will send the pro rata amount. If there's anything owed, then they'll ask for that. But I think you guys will pay the same amount each year. So
Yeah. Yep. Well, I just changed it to monthly because we doesn't know when when he's leaving, either this end of the month or April. You know what I mean? So that's why we changed it to monthly so that if things happen, he will stay another month, but actually he will be leaving end of this in a week. So yep. So that will be I will send this letter and then to you guys and then I will write down about terminations and stuff like that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. All right, so what happens here is the question will give us a z-score. If it's a positive, we make it greater than. If it's a negative, you use less than. And then make sure you put, so the I'm going to do it again here. So let's say that the z-score is -2. So you will do a -2 z-score. So this will be your p-value, but you have to double this p-value. The reason why you need to double the p-value is because this only showing you one side. Two-tail means you got both sides and you know it's symmetrical, so it should be the same. So you need to double this out, okay? But if you have just a left tail, your answer will be right here. You do not need to double it, and usually your z-score is negative, and that means your siding is on the left tail. If it's a right tail, you use a greater than, and usually this will be a positive number like 2.3, something like that. Again, the question will give you the z-score, so you will figure out are they positive, and then for the right tail, you find out that the right side, and so the p-value in this case will be 0.0107. Okay, so this is how you figure out the p-values if a question given you a population proportion. For the population mean, we will using the t distribution or t calculators in this case. Again, the degree of freedom, the question will give you the sample size. Make sure you subtract 1 from it. The degree of freedom n is -1. And it's the same property as the normal distribution, means that if your t-score that is given in the question is positive, you use greater than. However, if your t-score is negative, you use less than. So let's say that the question gave us a t-score of positive 3.2, and it is a two-tailed test. So what you do is you just put 3.2 here. And what you do here is this p-value, you have to double it. Again, why you double it? Because it's a two-tailed test, so you will have a left and the right side in this case. So make sure you double it. However, if you have just the right tail test, the t-score is positive, then your p-value will be 0.0047. You do not need to double it. So make sure you guys know the difference between doubling and not doubling. And for the left tail test, usually you have to change to less than, and usually this t-score will be a negative. The reason why is because it is on the left side. So your shading is on the left side. So this will be your p-value in this case. So this is how we do your critical values and p-values. So make sure you guys know which one is which. And this is very important. As I say, I put all the stars on it. So make sure you guys know how to do it. The next StatCrunch that we'll be talking about is performing a hypothesis testing. So usually the question will give us a bunch of informations for the how to test a population proportion. How do you find the p-value and the test statistics? You have to use StatCrunch. And for StatCrunch, you go under Stat, Proportion Stat, One Sample with Summary. So we'll be right here, Stat, Proportion Stat, One Sample with Summary. This is exactly what we did in 7.1, where you click on the confidence interval, but this time you will be performing a hypothesis testing, okay? This number that is right next to it is what we call as the claim value, okay? So the question will be given you the claim value, and usually is in the claim statement, okay? For example, is this example number 2, let's say number 3 here. So we got the NFL here that consists of American AFC and the NFC teams, two groups. And 27 won by the NFC and 26 won by the AFC. You have to use a 0.05 significance to claim that the NFC teams win the majority of Super Bowl. So, so NFC in this case is what they concentrate on, and NFC won 27. So that means your X, or in this case, number of success is 27. Okay. For the end, you have to add both NFC and AFC Super Bowl. So there's a total of 53 Super Bowl, as more than actually there's 60th Super Bowl this year, but you know, this is from the past 7 years. And then because of the majority means is more than 50%. So in this case that you will use 0.5, and then make sure you change the inequality here to more than 50%. So this is what the one that I underline in blue here is what we call as a claim statement. And this claim statement is what we try to prove here. So make sure you guys know the claim statement. Every single questions you read, they will have a claim statement, and usually it's come right after the word claim in this case. And then when you hit compute, you will get this. So the first thing you notice when you when you do this hypothesizing is they will give you the null and the alternative hypothesis, which will match with the null and alternative hypothesis that you did in step 2 here. So the p-value is given us by 0.445, and the test statistic is given us by 0.137, which is the one next to it. The standard error is using a formula that we calculate, so you don't worry about it. The sample proportion is p hat. That means if you take 27 divided by 53, you will get the 0.5094. So that is p hat, the sample proportion, or we call that as your best point estimate. So this is how we figure out how to use StatCrunch for doing a hypothesis testing for a population proportion. Okay. Now the next section we're gonna do is hypothesis testing for a population mean. So we're gonna use t-distribution. So again, to find the p-value and test statistics, which is step number 4, you have to use StatCrunch. And StatCrunch in this case, you got 2 types. Okay. So you have to go to stat, t-stat 1 sample. So stat, t-stat 1 sample, either with data or with summary. So this is exactly the same what you guys did in chapter 7 here, 7.2, because what do you mean by data? Data means that if you import data from homework, or if you import data from the data set that I provided to you, that means the question gives you data, then you do with data, and then they will tell you what column to pick. Now, I don't have a data here, so I'm going to go through data set. Now, some students still doesn't know where is the data set is from. So go into your MyStatLab, go to your homework, and go under StatCrunch, and this is a data set from your textbook. This is where you click on it to get your data set here. And let's say we are doing body data. Again, I always use that. So if you want to find try to do a hypothesis testing on here, you just go to t-stats 1 sample with data, and let's say we're doing H, and they will have, again, you're performing a hypothesis, they will give you a statement in this case. Okay. If the question provide you with the sample mean, sample percentage, and sample size, then you do with summary. Okay. So let me show it to you what we mean by data. So this case, for this question, we are going to do data set number 32, taxis. So again, go under data set from your textbook here, and then this is what you get, and then go under 32 taxis here. And we are doing total pay here. So this is a total pay. And they say that the claim value says that the mean total pay of a taxi K ride is less than $15. So this is your claim statement here. That means that your hypothesis statements for null hypothesis is mu is equal to 15, and for alternative is mu is less than 15 because the question is counting us as 15. So how do we do this? Is you go under stat, t-stat 1 sample with data, because we have data, and we will be using the total pay because the question is asking for total pay. And then now you will put in here because they're doing $15, and you can tell that once you put 15, this is your claim value, came from the claim statement here, then both 15 and 15, but make sure you select this to become less than, because the question did ask for less than. And once you hit compute, these two are your, again, you will find out that your statements match with your null and alternative hypothesis statement match with this step 2 here. So you find out that your test statistic is negative 1.6 and a p-value of 0.048 and the sample mean of 14.32. So that means that if I add all this number and divide it by, I don't know how many sample mean, add and divide, you get around 14.32. Okay, so this is how we do it if you got data. Okay, what happens if the question provide you the sample mean, sample selection, sample size? Then you're not doing this. So what you do in this case is you go stat, t-stat 1 sample with summary. So in this case, they will give you have to enter the mean and all the informations. But the questions, this is a claim statement that they'll ask that the means car is greater than 65 miles per hour. So if you read this, the mean for this case is 68.4. And the sample standard deviation for this case is 5.7. And the sample size, they picked 40 cars in this case. 40 cars, and they're asking for 65 miles per hour. And the claim statement say is greater than, so this has to be greater than. So when you hit compute, again, this is matching the step 2, the now and alternative statement here. And you find out that your test statistics and p-value is given as by 3.773 and 0.0003 is a p-value. So this is how we use StatCrunch to do your chapter 8's work. So you will consist of few things. One, how you figure out how to find p-value in test statistics using your for mean and for proportion, and then also how you find critical value and p-value for 8.1. Okay, so that's it for here. So if you have any questions, just let me know.